The New Zealand tour of Sri Lanka has concluded with both Sri Lanka and New Zealand winning a series apiece. If the ODI series had Sri Lanka creating history, the T20I series had New Zealand bouncing back to not go empty-handed. Join me into the review of this T20I series in this segment of Swara Presents The Outside View, co-powered by Wahe. So let's begin with the big picture. First things first, what was the success mantra in this T20I series? It was simple. The team which gets to win the toss opts to bowl first. Question is why? It's because the Asian region pitches are deemed to be more spin friendly, not just bowler friendly, but spin friendly. It could be because of the way the pitches are curated or the weather conditions or the tropical conditions, but Asian pitches are more spin friendly. So whichever team all over the world which comes to tour this side, or the Asian teams for that matter, on most occasions whenever they are playing, when they get to win the toss, or if they get to win the toss, they opt to bowl first. That's because chasing is a much easier option as compared to batting first. And that's exactly what worked for New Zealand in this series. Of course, even luck did favor them, because out of the 3 T20I matches, on twice the occasions New Zealand won the toss. Luck favored them in that manner, and so they without any hesitation opted to bowl first and made the most out of the situation, having their bowling department, especially their spinners, doing the job handsomely for them in being able to choke Sri Lanka in their first innings performance every time. But the third T20 was a different story, because at that time the toss luck factor supported Sri Lanka and they without any hesitation opted to bowl first, and in return had New Zealand choking in their first innings batting. So this was the success mantra. So moving up, the second segment is that this entire T20I series was a spinner's paradise without a shadow of a doubt, because the spinners quartet from both New Zealand and Sri Lanka turned out to be the most successful department when it comes to the ratio, speaking about the ratio of their team success, of course, with regard to New Zealand. So talking about the spin quartet, beginning with New Zealand, Amelia Kerr, Fran Jonas, Lee Kasparik and Eden Carson were absolutely instrumental in being able to restrict and choke the Sri Lankan batters. As for Sri Lanka also, talking about that third T20I success that they had so handsomely, their spinners quartet and Inoshi Priyadarshini, Inoka Ranavira, Sugandhika Kumari and Kavisha Dilhari proved to be extremely instrumental for them in being able to choke and restrict New Zealand in their first innings batting. So this was definitely a spinner's paradise, this T20I series. And now the third segment is to talk about that this T20I series could be seen in not having very handsome first innings totals. As beginning with the first T20I, when Sri Lanka came out to bat, they could only manage to put up 106 for the loss of 9 wickets in their 20 overs. And once again in the second T20I, a bit better performance, but still Sri Lanka could only manage 118 for the loss of 6 wickets in their 20 overs. And in the third T20I, well, it was New Zealand's turn to bat first. Of course, the batting performance was much better than Sri Lanka, but given the amount of depth and the amount of potential talent that they have, they could only manage 140 for the loss of 9 wickets in their 20 overs batting first. So this also makes it very much clear that batting first was never a very easy or a good option in these pitches given the Asian conditions, and as told that batting first is not a very good option in the Asian region. And the final segment to talk about in this big picture would be Sri Lanka's batting lineup. Now Sri Lanka's batting lineup for quite a number of years has been all about Chamari Atapattu ever since Chamari made her debut for the national side. She is one of the most destructive, without a doubt, one of the most destructive and monstrous big hitters in the international stage, and she has on most occasions been the major contributor. At least 70 to 80% runs have come from her batting for Sri Lanka's batting. But what Sri Lanka is doing wrong, or where Sri Lanka is going wrong in their approach, is that they are being way too much dependent on Chamari to always deliver with the bat. That cannot be the case, because when Sri Lanka are winning, on most occasions the success story has been that Chamari Atapattu has delivered with the bat when it comes to looking at the ratio of runs scored. What Sri Lanka need to do is that each and every person from their batting lineup or the entire team has to be balanced. The batting has to be balanced in order to ensure that Sri Lanka can win matches on a more successive and consistent note. So Sri Lanka have to ensure that their batting department is balanced and not just dependent on one particular player. Now let's take a look at who were the star performers in this entire series. Beginning with New Zealand, of course it has to be without a doubt Suzie Bates. Suzie Bates ended up this T20I series becoming the top scorer if New Zealand and Sri Lanka are both considered. Suzie amassed 133 runs in 3 matches and also was quite handy with the ball for New Zealand. And for Sri Lanka, of course, it has to be Chamari Atapattu. What a performance was this in the third T20I, scoring an 80 not out in just 47 deliveries and ensuring that Sri Lanka chased down the target at a whopping 10 runs per over. With this, we come to the end of this review, and once again, to all our viewers, do tell us by letting us know in the comment section who was your favorite performer from this entire series. And to always stay updated regarding any sort of news in and around the world, always follow Women's CricZone and keep following us on our social media handles. And you were watching yet another segment of Swara Presents The Outside View, co-powered by Wahe.